भगवान श्री योगी रामसूरतकुमार की जय। सर्वं योगी रामसूरतकुमारार्पणमस्तु। Let us offer our grateful pranams for this great opportunity to be here in front of Bhagwan, be it in the ashram or at home. He is there right in front of us for all those who are able to see him. And celebrate this huge grace we have been seeing, sometimes the teachings, sometimes the glory of his Tapobalam, the glory of his power, and sometimes we relive the experiences of the devotees at the call of Bhagwan's name, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, the story of his Nama's glory. Now today we shall see something that would stun us when we come to think of it closely. A few days back, the last weekend, a family had come from Pondicherry. Shri Dhanasekar, his wife Dakshayani, his newly wed daughter and the son-in-law. They had a very grand story, a true happening, one of Bhagwan's glory and wonder. Shri Dhanasekar was building his company, for which he used the Pada Puja flowers for the foundation. They are participants of Shri Vijayan's Pondicherry Satsang. And then when the building was built, there was this opening ceremony, the inauguration. And they presented, the satsang people presented him with a lamp of Bhagwan's face, embossed, a bronze lamp with Bhagwan's face embossed. And he was very happy, and soon after that, Shri Dhanasekar arranged for a satsang in his new building immediately after the inauguration. The first event that happened there was only Bhagwan satsang. And then his daughter's marriage, Shri Rajeshwari. So Rajeshwari's marriage was fixed. She was to be married to Shri Rajeshwaran. What a match. Even in the names they match so well. Everything happened fast and efficiently. On the day of the wedding, in the morning, the wedding took place in a grand manner. Many people visited. Shri Vijayan, who is leading the satsang, who is conducting the satsang, right in his house, he has built a hall for the satsang. He went there to attend the wedding and gave once again Bhagwan's lamp to the newlyweds. So far, so good. There was much chanting of the name, much celebration. And in the evening, the reception was held. Some 600 people would have attended. Again, everything seemed to go well, just as they expected, despite corona and all. But the next morning, the next day, early morning, all those people who attended the reception had started vomiting, and there was diarrhea, and some of them even swooned. And everyone was rushed to the hospital, 600 and odd people. You can imagine the entire Pondicherry, all the hospitals filled up fast. What was more, the bride, Rajeshwari, the bridegroom, Rajeshwaran, they were also sick. And not only them, the parents were also sick with vomiting and diarrhea. And a weakness took over. People had to spend a lot of money. Some of them had to spend a lot of money. They were elderly people, children, middle-aged people, youths. But everyone was in the hospital. You can imagine how Dhanasekar would have felt after so much worshipping of Bhagwan, so much chanting of the name, even holding a satsang in the newly built building, which he thought was a gift from Bhagwan, and then soon followed by this wedding of his daughter. Everything seemed to speak of Bhagwan's glory. But then what happened during reception could not be easily reconciled. People had taken food, very nice food, tasty food, and none of them had any inkling of what was going to happen. But one thing, everybody stayed in the hospital for 3 or 4 days. Shri Dhanasekar said, 50 or 60 people or perhaps 100 people would have escaped unhurt, but the rest of them all were in the hospital. It took 3 to 4 days for them to recover, with much expenditure, big bills from the hospital. You can imagine when such a thing happens, the whole lot of people would immediately pounce upon the people who held the wedding or demand why they would arrange, because they found out it was food poisoning. But Shri Dhanasekar said he himself was very sick, his wife was sick, his whole family and all the relatives, and none of them spoke a word. In fact, they were very sympathetic. They sympathized with the condition of the family, especially the newlyweds, that such a thing should happen to them also. And nobody demanded money. And above all, there was not a single death. It could have happened very easily. Some old people, already sick with something, could have easily succumbed to this, but it didn't happen. Just imagine if a death is attached to a wedding, how terrible it must sound. Despite all that these people have to go through, Shri Dhanasekar felt distantly the grace of Bhagwan at every step. That all people were saved, none of them demanded anything, none of them spoke harshly, and what was more, everybody recovered fast. When these people came and told me that, I was flabbergasted. My God, how could anybody take it? Despite the worship and all, despite the Nama chanting, despite the Samiti meeting, the one great event of the house, and such a thing should happen. How do we reconcile? How is it possible to reconcile this? Why would this happen to the devotees? Now we have to find out. The answer lies in the law of karma. No matter how much we have surrendered to a guru, the past karmas, good and bad, would play up sometime or the other, suitably. And of course, good karma, we enjoy the grace behind it, and we celebrate. We praise the Lord. But the bad karma, how could we accommodate it? Whatever we have done in the previous birth, we carry these good karmas and the bad karmas, a bag full of them, over to this janma, and everything that happens in this birth is according to these karmas. The law of karma is relentless. No one can escape the effects of karma. I have said it many times before, and I will repeat it again, because the more and more we hear, the more and more it gets inside, unforgettably. one word of praise about somebody, you can be very sure it's going to come back to you. Of course, it's welcome. We would enjoy it. Sometime or the other in life, it would come back to us, surely. Because you have given happiness to somebody by saying a good word. One word of abuse, mark it. It will surely come back to you at the most vulnerable moment of your life. And you won't be able to bear it. The hurt that you gave, the agony that you gave to somebody, you have to go through some time. The exact experience. This is the relentless law of karma. But then, when we surrender to a great master who is in communion with God, who is all kindness, ever blessing the devotees, when we begin to chant His name, when our life centers around Him, the Guru, the great master, can mitigate the effects of karma. He might even take away 75% of the effect, the bad effect. But 20-25% we have to go through. In rare cases, the karma itself will be uprooted. But in many cases, at least a low percentage of that has to be gone through. But even that seems to be too much for us. It becomes unbearable, we scream. And then we shout, why would this happen to me? What happens to my worship? All the worship I have done, all the Nama I have chanted, all the satsangs I have attended. Why would this happen despite all that? You have attended the satsang in this birth. You have chanted the name in this birth. You are devoted to the great master in this birth, but you do not know what you have done in your last birth. It's bound to bear upon you. But then, because you are chanting, you are closely associated with the master, most of it would be taken away. And that which is bearable will be left behind for us to go through. Like you see, help will come. Protection will come. The food poisoning happened, but everybody survived. And what was more, nobody demanded anything out of them despite the amount of money they had spent on their speedy recovery. Nobody demanded. Nobody pounced on them, blaming them for everything. In truth, they were only sympathizing. So you see, these are all special blessings from the great master. At this point, I remember an incident that I narrated some time back. Two brothers, one Krishnamoorthy and Agaram Jayaraman, both were in the immediate service of Shri Gnananandagiri Swami. And a function was held in Tapovanam, Jayanti function or something, when Krishnamoorthy fell down and broke his hand. Another function was held, the release of a book, Sadguru Gnanananda, in Chennai, in Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. And this Agaram Jayaraman was going on a bike. He was arranging so many things for that. On his way to the Bhavan, he fell down and broke his hand. The two brothers had this accident in two different places. The same right hand was hurt in both the cases. And then after some time, when that was healed, when Agaram Jayaraman went to see Bhagwan, because he was visiting very often, Shri Gnananandagiri was no more at that time. He had attained Samadhi. Agaram Jayaraman was found often in Sannadhi Street house, closely associated with Bhagwan. Bhagwan wouldn't accept easily anybody for his personal service. He was like fire, very difficult to cater to his will all the time, the mind being what it is for an ordinary being. Agaram Jayaraman did excellently well. He earned Bhagwan's love and permission. So when Agaram Jayaraman reported to Bhagwan, Bhagwan said, "You have a scar in that place, Jayarama?" "Yes, Swamiji." "Show me, Jayarama." And then Bhagwan said, "Jayarama, you are in the service of Shri Gnananandagiri Swami. Your brother is also in the service of Swami. But why would this happen to you both? Isn't that strange?" And then Bhagwan narrated the story. Some of you might remember, many of you might not have heard it all. Bhagwan said that when Shri Rama was building the bridge across the ocean, with the help of all those monkey soldiers, there was a squirrel. The squirrel wanted to do its little service to Rama. Everybody was drawn by the divinity of Rama, and the squirrel wanted to do its part in the whole service. So how could it do it? It had no hands. So what it did was, it would go dip itself in the ocean water and then come back to the shore and roll on the sand. And then it would go to the bridge they were building. It would shake itself and all the sand particles would fall down. And again it would go and have a dip in the water, come back and roll on the sand, and then will go and shake it off on the bridge. So it was adding those sand particles to the bridge the monkey soldiers were building already. Of course, Shri Rama being Shri Rama, nothing could escape his divine eye. He noticed it, and with such great love swelling in his heart, he took the squirrel in his lap and stroked its back, pouring his grace and love. And the 3 strokes fell on the back of the squirrel as 3 white lines. This is a story. Strangely, you would see the squirrels with 3 white lines only in India. The squirrels in other countries wouldn't have these lines. So you see, and the squirrel, at least the monkeys, they were all soldiers of Sugriva, and it was a contract between Sugriva and Rama had restored their kingdom. So they were doing it in gratitude also, but the squirrel had no motivation at all. It was just out of love. because it wanted to do service. There was no expectation. There was nothing to pray for, only the service. There was no one who could be compared with the slogging squirrel. You can imagine how Rama would have felt. So Bhagwan said, you see Swami Gnananandagiri, he knows your service, how closely you are associated, how much you are doing, and that with dedication. He said, Jayarama, it is all Gnananandagiri's grace, Jayarama. Just as Rama put those 3 lines on the back of the squirrel, Shri Gnananandagiri has blessed you with the scar, both the brothers with the scar. Do not mind it, Jayarama. They are blessings from the great master. It happens when you serve the master, some people would come and abuse you. Some people might even come and beat you up. Many people may speak harshly to you, and many would criticize you. But unmindful of all this, you go on doing your service to the great master, just as Shri Anjaneya did in Ramaseva. When Anjaneya went as a messenger, when he jumped across, he was tied up. Indrajit threw this Brahmastra upon him and he was bound. And then he was dragged through the streets with a rope tied to him. And people were all mocking. But he did not mind any of this. They even set fire to his tail. And still, his mind was only on Ramaseva. He wanted to get inside Ravana's palace. He wanted to challenge, throw a challenge to Ravana. He wanted to speak the glory of Rama to Ravana. That was all his aim. He was so deeply absorbed in the Ramaseva, nothing mattered to him, nothing, none of these humiliations mattered to him. You see, Jayarama, you and your brother are like that Anjaneya. And this is a blessing from your great master. This card is the line that Rama drew on the squirrel. So, amidst all our worship and Nama chanting and our faith in Bhagwan, because of some past karma, a very bad karma, when it starts playing up, we come across such situations, but all through this we can also detect Bhagwan's grace. How it stands by us, how it cushions us despite the hardship. So let us not give up our faith in Bhagwan. Let us know instead that no matter how much we have to go through, either by way of humiliation in the service or by some mishap because of past karma, He would stand by us. He would allow us to go through only a small percentage of it, mitigate most of it. And this Bhagwan is here before us. Let us submit our today's prayers at His feet. Bhagwan, it is only by your divine intervention, immediate divine intervention, that something could be done in today's world situation. People are panicking. There's a new wave, a rapid spread of the disease, and there's a lot of rumors coming up. And people are even more scared than before. We beg you again and again to intervene and free the entire humanity once for all from the dreadful clutches of this tiny virus, this Asura, this Rakshas, like you have always done in the Puranic times, and bring back normalcy so that the world would not invite such a situation again. It is a collective past karma of the world that's playing up now. Despite the protection of the great masters, some percentage of it we have to go through in life. But we beg you again and again for the bestowal of that huge grace that would uproot the fear from the hearts of people, arrest the rapid spread of the disease, enter the medicine to make it work, and above all, protect all those brave soldiers who are in the field fighting the disease despite the challenges. And Bhagwan, please give a boost to the economy and support all the steps taken towards its improvement. Above all, we beg you again and again, no matter what life brings to us, be it a joy or sorrow, let us not give up chanting your name. It needs a certain preparation of mind to reconcile to the effects of bad karma, but the Nama that we chant is efficacious. The efficacy of the Nama is well known from many, many stories that we have been going through. Just as Shri Dhanasekar and his family, they were able to appreciate the grace of Bhagwan amidst all those difficulties, amidst all that agony they had to go through. It was an occasion for joy and celebration, but just see what happened. And despite it, they were able to praise the grace of Bhagwan. So Bhagwan, please bless us with the right attitude to life so that we will be fitting instruments in your hands, and that with gratitude. And Bhagwan, above all, bless us to be able to see only your grace in every happening of life. Jai Yogi Ramsuratkumar.